Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. We're so excited to have another reading event here presented by Doors Ajar. My name is Dominique. I am the fiction nonfiction editor, and we're going to be hearing some from of our amazing contributors to our latest issue. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get things started. First, we'll be hearing from Sue, followed by Jared, Terrie, then Victoria. Excuse me, Emily. Jared, Terrie, then Victoria. Emily, take it away.
Thank you so much, Dominique and Maxwell. So great to see everyone. I'm honored to be included in the book, and my name is Emily Sue Sloane. The poem is Time Change. As we wave goodbye to standard time, I wait for joy to settle in. We're saving daylight again. Dusk can take its sweet time now that the sun is coaxing green shoots from the earth, watching nests form and eggs warm. But this year the task of renewal weighs heavy. Everything we took for granted as standard is tumbling, crumbling in a torrent of untruths, rewritten rules. Time is rearranging on a map written in an alphabet we no longer recognize. We trusted the puzzle to reassert itself, call us back to a familiar start. Straight-edged borders inside which the picture could come clear. Instead, the edges are exploding. Shrapnel is crashing into the earth, breaking its shell, shattering our notion that survival is the story that will keep on repeating. Thank you.
Jared isn't here, so we'll go to Terrie, then Victoria. Terrie, take it away. You are muted.
Yeah.
Now we can hear you.
I should be okay now. Yes, I'm Terrie Elaine Joplin, and I am absolutely thrilled to be in this gorgeous book, and I am thrilled to be here reading. This is called The Jar of Plums. The jar of plums you left on top of your beloved yellow Chrysler was the final sign your daughters needed for the test. And although benign, the tumor on your frontal lobe would take you out. You who saved your fig of a girl with milk straight from a cow and a shoebox bed in front of the fire. And later, your own leg by living on the front porch as the crushed bits oozed into the summer air. You who lost tender Jack at 5 to cholera, and later, when your stillborn son didn't cry, you heard the one surrendered by his overwhelmed mother and embraced him like you did me and my shame on our hasty wedding. You who hoped I could save him from his early and long fall into alcoholism. You whose freckled arms plucked me, clutching our 2 infants into air we could breathe, handing us toast and jam across your table. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me and for giving this story a home. My name is Victoria Hood, and I will be reading Your Childhood Home. I tore down your childhood home, the one you spent all day building. We made a home of love and luster, and with one movement, I tore it all down. Light bulbs breaking, blankets tumbling. I wanted to rebuild it for you, pave over the cracks with magic, but you told me once the light bulbs break, there is no more home. The lights have leaked out, the magic has dried up. I walk from your childhood home to my bathroom to watch my hair thin. You yell distantly for help, but all I can do is watch the hair thin and fall. I am overcome with the concept of tumbling, of losing it all in the velocity we create rolling down a hill. I am overcome with how dark the night sky looks the first time you're out past dark, the first time you sneak out, the first time someone holds your hand, gentle, soft, like we didn't need to grasp onto memory. I close my eyes and I picture the daily tumbling, your childhood home, my hair, my body, my fingertips molting off to become a new person. I dream of becoming you. You, an epitome, you, a resurrection. You, a building of, not a tumbling down. You built your childhood home by hand, carefully placing each blanket wall and pillow insulation, providing clips from my bathroom that no longer hold my thinning, tumbling hair. You searching inside our home to build a home that can finally become a nest, something to hold your delicate bones. You trying to provide. You build and build the whole day so you can have the childhood home you only wished you had at childhood. A TV in the center, a mini fridge in the corner, chilling your juice boxes and Gatorade, fairy lights highlighting us from the background, and we sank further into each other. You resurrecting the walls of nostalgia, you a home. You invited me in to stay the night, and I made myself a spot next to you, holding myself together. My feet too big, my head too lopsided, my arms always longer than I thought they were. You asked me to grab something to bring into our home for the night, but I cannot take it any longer. I move 1 inch and demolish your home. I break the light bulb so you'll only have darkness. I rip at the clips holding the hinges of this house together. I claw at the blankets, wrapping me in shards of light bulb. I feel the glass embedded deeper and deeper until my blood spills purple rather than red. I run from this home I tore down, and I watch my hair thin in the bathroom. I push the glass deeper and deeper. I want to replace my bones made of milk and jelly with the shards of glass my body has started to call home. My body gags, and I open my mouth, and I pull at the threads choking me. I pull and pull until your gray felt snowflake blanket comes out in its entirety. It is hot to the touch from my fireplace heart. You pull this blanket over my head and ask me if this would be enough hair, so much that I could never lose it in this lifetime. I cry and cry until tiny pillows fit for ants crawl out of my eyes. Of course, I say. You shuffle me forward, and my sheets for legs crumble under the weight of movement. They tumble under the tension of unraveling. I lay there in awe of the mess I made. I am never prepared for the way I can tear it all down, for the way I have never fully human. You tell me you wouldn't have built this home if you weren't prepared for me to knock it down. You tell me this like it is a comfort, like it is knowing, not like it is a stab to the balls of my feet, pegging me down to exactly who I am. In the wake of your childhood home collapsing, I'm building a new home for myself, one that could never be demolished again. I adjust my glass bones, compacting them into a figment of stability. I scoop up the tattered shards of blanket mixed with my surface red blood, and I paper mache the cracks in the wall. I chew up the papers from the receipts for the snacks, and I wad them together to make this house stable for impending weather. In the wake of your childhood home collapsing, I have built you something to stare at, something you can make a home out of if you hollow me out enough. Take the spoon from your pocket and gently spoon out your view. Make windows into your new childhood home. Take the spoon from your pocket and gently scrape the meat from bone. Sweep the muscle and tendon away like cobwebs. Squash the bugs inside your home like the balloons of blood they are. Take the spoon from your pocket and widen the gaping door to the entrance of your new childhood home. Make it human-sized again and never let me in. In the wake of your childhood home collapsing, I have offered myself to you as a nest for eternity. I hope you think of me. Thank you all.
All right, that was wonderful. I'm just going to briefly talk about our current issue, which we're all here to celebrate. Look at this beautiful cover. Look at this beautiful magazine. We have 45 contributors in this from all over the world. I want to thank each and every one of you for helping make this just a beautiful, beautiful publication. I'm going to include a link to the magazine in the chat, and if you're watching this in the future on YouTube, it'll be down in the description below. And back to you, Dominique.
Thank you so much, Max. Next, we're going to hear from Zoe, Ashley, Sam, then Tiago. Zoe, over to you.
Hi, I'm Zoe Sondik, and my piece is called Unlearning You. You never had to tell me I wasn't beautiful. You made sure I knew it. I knew it when you gave me clothes too big for you. I heard it when you told our friends I'd be pretty if I tried. I felt it when I gave into your vision of me that left me sick. You never saw how I starved to satiate you. I defined my beauty by your rules all along, measured by your gaze. But now I see, I am far more beautiful now that I make the rules. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Excuse me. I'm Ashley Kirkland. Thanks for having me. I'm going to read a little ode. It's called Ode to the Cicada. Shed your skin, molt into yourself and emerge with your eyes glistening. Leave what's left curled on the bark of the walnut out back. A boy collects older versions of you in a jar. Only he knows the forms you took before you became what you are. Let your veined wings and body camouflage your new existence in the world. Make space for yourself among the leaves. Rattle late into the evening. Make noise even after the sun sinks behind the trees and the streetlights flicker on. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Aureli, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to read my poem, Arrival. You know you've arrived at that tender, unguarded peace when the meadowlark's bright song catches you mid-step, and you stop, boots sinking into damp, forgiving soil, to listen as if it were the first sound ever made. It's the way the oak leans toward the river, limbs bowed with long-earned patience, or the fierce small courage of a single daisy breaking open stone. It's when you kneel to the wild, untamed grass, not minding the stains, and let the world's green pulse carry you to its quiet, waiting shore. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tiago Quintana. It's a pleasure to be here. And this is my short story, The Sorrow Song Nights and the Nightingale's Tune. Tristegar, the sorrow song nights rolled into the night. The black-maned steed shadow silk, easily keeping pace with its rider's desperation. He rode aimlessly, guided only by moonlight shine on a marble road surrounded by trees ancient and wild, for he was chased by impossible dreams, and the line between dream and derangement is only as thick as one's heart. He might have ridden forever if not for birdsong, the sad ballad of nightingales he suddenly heard. He didn't know where it came from, or how he could even hear it, lost as he had been in Shadow Silk's gallop. But for a brief moment, the quiet desperation that shrouded him was lifted, and he stopped and listened. It sounded nothing like the common song of nightingales to Tristegar's ears, though he knew little of such things, and in its effect, it sounded like no bird song he had ever heard. It made him remember things he had never seen before, dream-like visions of a dozen white ships, their decks covered with 1,000 black roses, sailing into the ocean's mist. The song wasn't one of joy or cheer. It offered neither hope nor succor, but it did offer kinship and understanding, the comfort of knowing that no pain was absolute or ineffable, for even birds could sing of it. The singing started to grow fainter, and Tristegar became fretful and upset. Moving almost without conscious thought, he dismounted and followed the fading bird song deep into the woods, leading Shadow Silk by the reins as they made their way through the trees as best as they could. It didn't take them long to step into a wide clearing with a pond in the center, its clear waters perfectly mirroring the night sky. Tristegar had hoped to finally see the elusive winged minstrels, but only their melody, now clearly audible once more, still marked their presence. He had no time to be disappointed. He was astonished to see another person there, someone in a mask and dressed in a jester's costume, a patchwork of bright, vivid colors with tiny bells hanging everywhere, dancing what looked like a circle dance all by themselves. Such an energetic dance meant for a whole circle of people to outdo each other in displaying good cheer. Who was the fool? Why did they dance? The Sorrow Song Knight didn't know. Despite himself, Tristagar stood mesmerized. The jester's mask, smooth and alabaster white, had no features, not even openings for the eyes and mouth, which were painted on in red and black in an obscenely happy expression. They must have been unable to see anything, but they danced on. Hidden atop the trees, the nightingales still sang, a song manic and despairing, the wailing of those who had everything taken from them, even their very selves, and their suffering was still at its rawest. Even the jester cried, for Tristagar could hear it, though they didn't stop dancing. The song shouldn't have matched such joyful movements, and yet it did. To Tristagar, it almost seemed, what an absurd notion. The birds serenaded the dancer. The nightingales were still nowhere to be seen. Why didn't they show up? Why didn't they stop singing? The Sorrow Song Knight didn't know. The jester saw Tristagar. Tristagar's breath caught in his throat for reasons he didn't understand. But the jester didn't stop. Instead, they gestured for him to join them. They never stopped dancing, even when the night simply stood still. On and on the fool danced, the rattling of the bells somehow matching the riffing of the nightingale's tune perfectly, as birds and buffoons together performed. For who? Themselves? The world? The Sorrow Song Knight felt like an intruder, and anger grew in his chest. Dance, fool, dance. Dance the sadness and the madness of this world, but hide your own pain behind a mask. Your happiness is ugly, but your sadness offends me. Your tears make me feel powerless, me, who bears the world's grief, but abandons my brother to his pain. Why do you still dance, fool? Sing, nightingales, sing. Sing the lamentations of the lost and lonely, too afraid to walk the road ahead, too desperate not to try. Fly, nightingales, fly. Why do you fly hidden among the trees? You will never reach the moon, pitiful birds. You can only escape your dreams. What use does a knight and his sword have for your wings, for your singing, for you? It's the sword that protects, that sword that avenges. Why do you still sing, nightingales? Why do you still dance, fool? Whether you sing or dance, the world won't change. Whether you sing or dance, the world won't change. Tristagar, the Sorrow Song Knight, groggily opened his eyes as sunlight mercilessly fell on them. The sight of shadow silk happily chewing on grass nearby greeting him to wakefulness. When had he fallen asleep? He didn't know, but despite spending the night in his armor without blanket or bedroll, he felt hale and hearty, restored in body and soul. He breathed in deeply, filling his lungs, his very being, the exhilaration of feeling alive. He went to wash his face on the waters of the pond. As he did so, he slowly remembered last night's dream. For it must have been a dream, a flight of fancy from a half-awakened mind at most. Slowly, he remembered the fool with the patchwork outfit and the grotesque caricature of happiness that served as their mask. Remembered the way they moved in their dance, exuberance only heightened by grace, and their invitation to join in. Remembered the song of the nightingales filling the night, melodies that captivated his soul from the moment he first heard them. He remembered the anger, the rage he had felt. Who had been the fool? The Sorrow Song Knights no longer knew. Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
That was wonderful. Another wonderful story. All right, well, I'm just going to briefly talk about our submissions. Our submissions are free and open all year long. We're always looking for poetry, short fiction, nonfiction, art, drama, and now we are taking in book reviews. We don't do the reviews ourselves. That's for people who write reviews to send in, just to clarify that. And I will put the details for our submission, the link to our submission guidelines in the chat, or if you're watching this future, in the description down below. And back to you, Dominique.
All right. Now we're going to hear from Dennis, Scott, Jessica Baker, then Krista. Dennis, take it away.
Thank you. I am Dennis Goza, coming to you from Cambodia, so it's a bit early in the day for me. I am going to read Ambivalent Love Song. We both dig breaking strings because that means we're playing hard. And hard is the only way to play. And play is the only way we both can thrust through this parade of blended days. We fancy our parades if they last for days, and frame our splints as well as our trophies. We revel in hangovers and ringing ears, or at least their antecedents for which we'll pay. We relish crying over milk unspilt, then spilling it to laugh. No haiku for us, only epics of countless cantos. We prick up our ears, hankering for a mermaid singing. We bask in exponential zip codes, craft onion sculptures, winter on Jupiter, savor a diet of spices, a language of punctuation. We don't let things happen to us. We happen to things. So of course we love each other, not just because we filter out the filters, turning our horoscopes upside down, but also we share this. We both swear to love, yet never to love too much. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Scott McConnaha, also Papa to my two grandkids who I think are watching right now. Very honored to have a couple poems in the winter issue of Doors Ajar and to be reading one of them for you here. This is titled Temptation. After 35 too quick minutes driving through warm morning fog, I walk around to the passenger side for my lunch and work bag. Before touching the handle, a blue jay calls in its smoke-throaty way, drawing my attention to the otherwise quiet woods that start at the edge of the blacktop. For the entire drive and sleepless night before, I plotted my day, rehearsed another attempt to help them see there's more to consider than only what they see. So tempting to leave it all in the car and disappear into the secret shroud of trees who expect nothing. And I'd have gone too, had I not worn my nice shoes. Thank you.
All right, Max. They are together grabbing coffee. And so we will take it back to you.
Okay. What are we talking about now? You can subscribe to Doors Ajar Literary Magazine. We have a couple ways of doing that. We have both print and digital subscriptions. Digital subscription is only $9.99 for the year, and you get full access to our digital archives. Or you can get a print subscription where we'll send you a print copy quarterly. So you get 4 a year, and you get full access to our digital archives. And you can have a gift subscription for either print or digital as a gift to someone you love. So you can share the wonderful creative voices of Doors Ajar with people you love. And I will put a link to that in the just in the chat, or if you're watching this in the future, in the description down below. And back to you, Dominique.
Wonderful. We'll now hear from our last group, starting with Jessica, then Jean, Bryan, and September. Jessica. Dubey, take it away.
Hi, I'm Jessica Dubey. Thank you for including me. This is bad advice. If love comes to the door today with a bouquet of bright red cliches and a heart-shaped box of lies, let it in. Do it even though this goes against everything your mother ever told you about opening the door to strangers. Love doesn't need an invitation to enter. It will find a left open window. It will pick your lock. Once inside, it will steal your wallet. It will break your favorite coffee mug. Love is a rascal. Don't try to change it. Even if you manage to push it out the door, it will leave a greasy handprint on the curtains. It will accidentally forget to take its toothbrush and spent arrows just for an excuse to come back. Next time, when it knocks on your door, don't bother pulling down the blinds and pretending no one's home. Love knows where you hid the key.
Good evening, and thanks for including me tonight. It's been such a treat to hear the other writers read their work. Really enjoying this. I'm Jean Janicke, and I'm reading Wind Speed Report from the deck of the lake house. 6 knots. My father's face is a weather vane. He clocks nautical miles with his cheeks. When my parents were newlyweds, they spent spare time in the Navy's Newport sailboats, exploring the bay, watching teams test the limits of cloth and wood, and absorbing the speed of wind in their skin. 1 knot, not a good sailing day. A single sailboat sits in the bay, still as if painted in place. Unable to push through the last stretch to shore without gust or puff or a breath of breeze. Waveless waters reflect shifts in the sky's gray palette as the sun sets. Steel, pearl, ash, lead, slate. Maybe the stillness means we will hear the loom tonight. Maybe the morning will bring a whisk of sailing weather to my father's face. Thank you.
My name is Bryan Franco. Sorry, I can't be on camera. This is my piece that's in the current issue. It's called My Poetry is a Napkin. My poetry is a napkin. It really tries to serve its purpose, but it finds itself in one of those metal restaurant napkin dispensers. Napkins get stuck in that people stick their fingers into to unstick the next napkin, ripping it and possibly the next one until a full napkin exits the dispenser. Sometimes my poetry is a small square bar napkin. A bartender hands a patron eating chicken wings, as if anything besides a full-size dinner napkin would be appropriate, which is totally unfair to the chicken wing eater, who won't be able to properly wipe sauce and blue cheese dressing from his face. But every once in a while, my poetry is a fancy cloth machine washable dinner napkin that not only feels soft against my cheek, but is absorbent enough to clean any sauce or condiment before being thrown into a washing machine to come out raring and ready to excise more messy thoughts that dare exit my mind. Thank you.
Hi, I'm September Woods Garland, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share this story, and also just really thrilled to find a home for it in Door is Ajar. I'll be reading the short story entitled Tuliki Bakes a Cake. We live near the front. The frozen lake is all that stands between us and the enemy's encroaching line. I'm grateful to eat from its waters in these times of scarcity. The smell of my mother's stew, carp, and potatoes, seasoned with herbs we dried in summer, fills the cabin, promising to nourish my growing body. But even a full stomach cannot quell the dread. The arrival of more men and more guns is inevitable. My mother does not accept this inevitability as an excuse to lie around lamenting. She sends me on errands each morning, and with our soldiers camping nearby, I help eagerly, wanting to catch a glimpse of their insignia and eavesdrop on their conversations. Their tales of foreign lands and ideas mesmerize. Today I'm assisting with an important task. It's taken some convincing for the men to allow a young woman to participate. No one wants the honor of exposing me to the horrors of war. But I tell them I'm no stranger to atrocities. I watched my brother explode, I tell them, and I cried for a week when my father fell from the sky. I lift my sweater and trace the scar over the bullet wound on my abdomen with my finger. They watch, and I know they wonder, but won't ask. One of the soldiers steps closer to me. His eyes are a deep hazel, and when he speaks, I listen with the ear in my heart like Father taught me. You've seen a lot, he says. I have. As the words leave my mouth, I hope their sound fits his heart ear like his fit mine. You know, our tactics go back generations, he says, while rolling a pinch of tobacco into a cigarette. It's not an impressive job, but it'll do the trick. We use snow and ice to thwart our enemies, to hide and confuse. I've heard of these tactics. All Finns have. I've heard the morbid rumors and seen the rough-hewn sketches in a book my cousin swiped from a visiting journalist. The depictions stick in my mind. Frozen bodies, posed and stacked, their eyes pried open, partially obscured by icicled eyelashes. These were men who once lived and breathed and wore the red scarves of the opposition. Men who once left home for war like father, but fought for the wrong side. I've heard all about the effectiveness of the strategy. Enemy soldiers, when coming upon their fallen comrades arranged in such a way, would crack from disturbance and horror just long enough to create an advantage. It's then our troops would pounce. I've heard all these things, but I've never seen the task carried out, let alone assisted in such a thing. Today we stack and pose the icy corpses of the enemy in a wild display at the shore. Moving the bodies is a cumbersome task. I lack the strength to lift them, but I maneuver and arrange limbs and heads as instructed by the men. The fingers are rigid. When I try to move them, to pose them as I'm guided, I fear they may break off. I learn quickly to be gentle, to sense the breaking point of the lifeless digits. Despite these morbid challenges, the job satisfies. I feel purposeful. I take in the view of our work, 17 men arranged in an icy diorama. I feel for them, briefly. I know it is the poor who fight wars for rich men's gains. It is the peasantry dying out here. But as I take in the display of bodies at the shore, I steel myself against empathy and let the pride swell within. Yesterday, when the bombs were falling and the men were rushing across the lake, I wouldn't have believed these events possible. I've had a hand in this, and for my work, I feel I have grown. Something new can happen for me. As the day winds down, we retreat to the cabin, where my mother has built a roaring fire and brewed strong coffee. I don't realize how cold I've been until the men and I enter. It's in the chattering of my teeth that I know I live. It's the pain in my bones, a deep chill, that alerts me to my existence. I count these sensory experiences and disruptions in comfort as blessing, reminders of my vitality. The bombs will fall again tomorrow, but today the men have silenced them. We have deterred the enemy for now, and we'll use that to our advantage. Not to advance or to take initiative, but to take the only thing worth taking, time. This evening, my mother and I bake a modest cake from the soldiers' rations and ingredients we've stashed for a special occasion. I savor the task of frosting both layers, letting the joy of creation well up in me. I think about my father and my brother, and I smile, grateful for the time we shared and comforted by the idea that I may see them again soon. We share the cake with the men. I peer out the cabin's frosted windows as I eat, that morbid spectacle in view. I'm reminded of my good fortune. My heart still pumps blood through these veins, after all. My lungs still inflate with oxygen, and my brain still commands my body to walk around talking and loving and bumping up against boundaries. My mouth can take food into it, chew and swallow. We finish the cake, every crumb consumed, every lick of frosting devoured. Everyone agrees it's the best we've tasted. Of course it is, I think. It may be our last. Thank you.
All right, that was a great job, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I don't think that those three who were scheduled to read are here with us tonight, but thank you for everyone who came out. Thank you for being brave enough to share your work. It's always a thrill to hear poems and stories in the author's voice. It just adds so much more to it. But before we go, I do want to just mention this, that one of the nonfiction pieces we published last year got a special shout out in this year's Best American Essays 2025. And it's a piece called Triumph by Jay Morris. I might just show you it here. I have it right? Right there with my fingers. Hope everyone can see that okay. Yep, there it is. Okay. Well, this is the first time one of our pieces was ever nominated for this. It was, excuse me, a notable mention. Notable mentions. That's what it's called. But it's a first for us. It means we're all coming up in the world. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Dominique, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, we're just so excited that everyone was here. Tell your friends about Doors Ajar. Not only can you submit, they can submit too. And we're looking forward to reading so much more of your amazing work and the work of some of your colleagues. Until next time.